Morning everyone. Today we will read Barata curve. If you are talking about Barata curve, we already knew that Barata curve मंद बुद्धि का होता है, बहुत ज्यादा इसके पास माइंड नहीं होता है. And this medicine is belonging to the class 7, and this medicine is proved by Dr. Christian Frederick Samuel Hahnemann, and this is commonly known as barium carbonate. So let's talk about the symptoms of Barata curve. Especially adapted to the complaints of first and second childhood. Means what? Means especially this medicine is suited to those persons who are in the younghood or childhood. But if the patient is having complaint, second childhood का मतलब क्या? ओल्ड एज होता है. फर्स्ट चाइल्डहुड का मतलब क्या होता है? यंग एज, जब बच्चे होते हैं. ठीक है. सेकेंड चाइल्डहुड का मतलब ओल्ड एज. ओके. If both the patient is having any complaint, then we can think of Barata curve, especially psoric or tubercular origin. But if you are talking about psoric or tubercular origin, so we can take the example of like tuberculosis or like any itching or skin eruption to the patient. If we are getting this type of symptoms, we can think of Barata curve. But another symptom, old cachectic people, means what? Cachectic people means what? Means those person who are very lean thin, एकदम दुबला पतला लकड़ी के जैसा दिखेगा, and especially scrofulous and especially when fat. But when the person is fatty, then he will be having scrofulous problem. Means stomach constitution is there. Means there will be a involvement or enlargement of the glands. Any gland, it can be mammary glands, it can be parotid glands, it can be thyroid gland, it can be anything. Or those who suffer from gouty complaints, especially those person who are already suffering from the gouty problems, and with that the patient is having स्कोफुलस कंडीशन मीन्स ग्लैंडुलर इन्वॉल्वमेंट, मतलब जॉइंट की कंप्लेन ऑलरेडी हो, उसके साथ अगर किसी को ग्लैंड्स इन्वॉल्वमेंट है, लाइक एनलार्जमेंट ऑफ पैरोटिड ग्लैंड or thyroid gland or salivary glands, so we can think of this medicine. Another symptoms, general emaciation. You can see general means what? Means person as a whole. As a whole, there is a emaciation, means lean thin. But if you are talking about general emaciation, so here we can correlate with the disease condition with the practice of medicine. So can anyone tell me the name of disease condition where we can correlate? जनरल इमेसिएशन किस डिजीज में होता है, कोई बताएगा? If you are talking about the yes, protein energy malnutrition, very good. And yes, marasmus is there, very good. It is also part of PAM, protein energy malnutrition, and many more examples. And yes, quasi-Orcar marasmus is there, but in case of quasi-Orcar, there is a edematous body. Okay. Another example, it can be tuberculosis, it can be hypothyroidism, and if the patient is having cancer or etc., if the patient is having all the disease condition, then his body is having general emaciation, पूरा सूखा दिखेगा, ऐसे दुबला पतला हड्डी की तरह. That's why already there is mention cachectic people. Cachectic का मतलब दुबला पतला लकड़ी का जैसा. You can see in the picture, ऐसे ही दिखेगा patient. Okay. Another condition, scrofulous dwarfist children who do not grow rapidly. Scrofulous means those children who are having glandular involvement. Glandular involvement is what? I have already said there will be enlargement of glands, especially thyroid, especially parotid. It can be anywhere in the body. And dwarfish, जिसे कहते हैं बौने, you can see in the picture. And they cannot grow too rapidly. Why? Because there is a deficiency. Here we can correlate with the physiology with growth hormone. If there is a deficiency of growth hormone, so patient might be suffering from the dwarfism. But another symptom is there, children who grow too rapidly. Means those children who are growing too rapidly, means if the child is having age 8 years of age but इतना जल्दी बढ़ जाता है कि लगता है कि यार ये कितना 12 साल का हो गया. It will looks like. So can anyone tell me the name of medicine? किस मेडिसिन में होता है? That is, yes, very good Bhavna. Calcarea fos. Okay, Calcarea fos में होता है. And there is a Scophilus ophthalmia. Scophilus ophthalmia का मतलब there will be an inflammation of the eyes and the patient is having associated with enlargement of the glands and abdomen swelling. Abdomen swelling also will be there and frequent attacks of colic. Frequent attacks मतलब बार बार rapidly there will be abdominal colic. Which अभी हो रहा था फिर 4 घंटे बाद होगा. फिर after 1 day, every day the patient is having colic. That is frequent colic. And face bloated. Why there will be face bloated? Face bloated क्यों होता है? Puffy हो जाता है. Because a patient might be suffering from the pain, protein allergy, malnutrition. Like you guys said, marismus, marismus and क्वासियोरकर. तो प्रोटीन एनर्जी malnutrition की कमी होगा तो क्या होगा? उसका फेस बड़ा हो जाएगा, फेस ब्लोटेड हो जाएगा. Okay. But here if we are talking about the frequent attacks of colic, so here we can correlate with the another medicine with colic, like agonizing pain causing patient to bend double. That is the symptom of colocin. Agonizing pain. What is the meaning of agonizing pain? That pain which is can't be tolerated by the patient. And if the patient is coming to you, then he will be bending double. Why? Because the patient is getting relief by bending double. That is the symptom of colocin. Okay. But here is written cornea opaque. But these symptoms also we can correlate with the another medicine. If there is an ulcer of the cornea, especially in the office worker, so can anyone tell me the name of medicine? कौन सी medicine में है और? That is sulfur and silesia. Two medicine is there. Okay. Another symptoms, person subject to quinsy take cold easily. Means a person is always suffering from the quinsy. Quinsy means a person is always suffering from the tonsillitis. Tonsillitis means there will be an inflammation of tonsil. And if the person is taking cold easily, means if the patient is taking cold, means कुछ भी ठंडा खाया पिया या ठंडा लग गया, so patient might be having tonsillitis, that is quinsy. Or with every even the least cold food, cold have an attack of tonsillitis and prone to suppuration. And if there is involvement of tonsillitis, you can see in the picture, there will be a suppurative tonsillitis will be there. But if you are talking about the suppurative tonsillitis, so can anyone tell me the causes of suppurative? Is Staphylococcus. Okay. But if you are talking about the tonsillitis, so here we can correlate with the many more medicine like Hepocel. When we can think of Hepocel, if the patient is having tonsillitis, so there will be so much painful condition. Even the least thing the patient is having, least thing eating, means thoda bhi kuch khata hai, and there will be aggravation, means there will be a so much sensitiveness, and because of sensitiveness we can think of paper sulf. But here we can also correlate or compare with the belladonna. So what symptom we will see in the belladonna? We can think of belladonna, especially when the patient is having tonsillitis. If there is an inflammation of the tonsil, and it will looks like a red, there will be congestion in the tonsil, and because of congestion it will looks like a red. So with red there will be a hotness. So if you are getting these symptoms, then we can think of belladonna. Okay. Another symptoms, apoplectic tendency in old people. What is the meaning of apoplectic tendency? Apoplectic, if there is anywhere the word has been mentioned apoplectic, that means apoplectic or apoplexic, that means unconsciousness, and that is resulting from the brain hemorrhage, a stroke, especially in old people. If you are getting unconsciousness or brain stroke in the old people, especially complaints of old drunkards, means especially those who are having age more than 60 years of age and they are drinking too much alcohol, and headache of aged people, and that person is also having headache, and especially they are behaving like a child, means they are having childish behavior. क्या कहते हैं हम लोग जनरली, जो लोग दारू पी लेते हैं तो ऐसी ऐसी बात करेंगे जैसे बच्चे बात करते हैं, मीन्स childish behavior is there. You can see in the picture. If you are getting this type of symptom, then we can think of variety carb. Okay. But if you are talking about the drinking or alcohol, then we can correlate with the many more medicine. So can anyone tell me the more medicine about the craving for alcohol? क्या क्या ज्यादा क्या क्या और मेडिसिन है अल्कोहल के लिए? Nux vomica and craving for alcohol. What are the medicine? Yes, very good away. और calcarea ars is there. Sulfur is there. Syphilinum is there. Acerum europaeum is there. And trinitrotoluene is there. And Quercus eglandium is there. These are the medicine for the craving for alcohol. But if you are talking about the alcohol, then we can correlate with the Kent repertory. So can anyone tell me the name of rubric which is relating with the alcohol? क्या rubric हम लोग सर्च करेंगे Kent repertory में? Yes, very good away. Dipsomania. One more rubric is there. Yes, mania in Porto. Very good. These are the two rubrics we will find under the chapter of mind, especially a Kent repertory. Okay. Another symptom is inability to swallow anything but liquids. Means a person can swallow anything, but if the patient is drinking liquid, so there might be a problem. But these symptoms we can correlate or compare with the any other medicine, like we can correlate with the baptisia. So what is mentioned in baptisia? There is mentioned can swallow only liquids. That is the symptom of baptisia. But what is mentioned in silesia? can swallow liquids, but the person is having aversion to them. लिक्विड पी सकता है लेकिन उसको एवर्सन भी है, दैट इज साइलिशिया. But these symptoms again we can correlate with the another medicine like anacardium. There is mention F to choke and eating. F to choke while eating and drinking. In the bracket there is a kawa kawa. These are the symptoms of anacardium. But if you are talking about the inability to swallow anything but liquid, these symptoms we can correlate with the practice of medicine with a condition that is known as dysphagia. But if you are talking about dysphagia, so can anyone tell me the causes of dysphagia? Can anyone tell? If you are talking about the dysphagia, so we can talk about the diffuse esophageal spasm. And if there is a large bolus, so it will also cause the dysphagia and diffuse esophageal spasm. And in case of paralysis of throat muscle, in this condition we will also find a dysphagia. But dysphagia means what? Dysphagia means painful deglutition of the food. A patient cannot swallow if he is trying to deglutate the food, so there will be a pain. But if you are talking about the dysphagia, so we can correlate with the repertory. So can anyone tell me the name of repertory where we will find direct rubric by the name of disease condition? Can anyone tell me the name of rubric? That is synthesis repertory, which is written by Frederick Squence. Another symptoms, hemorrhoids protrude every time he urinates. When the child is going to pass the urine, at that time there will be a protrusion of hemorrhoids. When the person is passing urine, at that time there is a protrusion of hemorrhoids, which there will be a bleeding. There will be a protrusion of anus. But these symptoms we can correlate with another medicine like illumina. So what is mentioned in illumina? There is mentioned diarrhea when she urinates. Means in case of illumina, when the lady person or male person, either lady or either male person is going to pass her urination, so there may be a diarrhea. If you are getting this type of symptom, then we can think of illumina. Another symptoms, very aversion to meeting a stranger. A patient does not want to meet with everyone, especially he does not want to meet with the strange person. To those people who are unknown to the patient, they cannot. They don't want to meet with the stranger. Another symptoms, chronic cough in soaring children, enlarged tonsil or elongated uvula, which is aggravated after slight cold. Means person, a baby, a child is having chronic cough since so many years, like 1 year, 2 years. Especially a person is psoric. Why we will say psoric? Because patient might be having a glandular involvement. Or there is a tonsillitis. Or there is enlargement of the glands. And with that the patient is having chronic cough. But you can see in the picture, you will find elongated uvula. But this is generally aggravation after slight cold. थोड़ा भी पानी पी लिया या खा लिया उसने, so there will be a problem. And if you are getting this type of symptom, then we can think of Barrett-Esser. Another symptoms often useful in dyspepsia of the young who have masturbated and who suffer from the seminal emission. Means especially we can think of this medicine, that is Barrett-Esser, especially those person who are having the history of masturbation and they are having the problem with the seminal emission and they are suffering from the dyspepsia. What is dyspepsia? Can anyone tell? What is dyspepsia? Can anyone tell? Dyspepsia means if the patient is having indigestion or unsatisfactory passing of the stool, means indigestion will be there. Okay, and there will be a history of masturbation or seminal emission, then we can think of this medicine and together with cardiac irritability and palpitation, and with that the symptom, another symptom will be there which is related with the heart. So what are the symptoms will be there? That will be palpitation or irritability. Patient बोलेगा डॉक्टर साहब घबराहट लग रहा है, ऐसे घबराहट लग रहा है. Patient will express you like that, डॉक्टर साहब ऐसा लगता है जी घबरा रहा है, घबराहट लग रहा है. That is the meaning of palpitation. Okay, but if you are talking about the dyspepsia, so we can correlate with the another medicine, that is Abies nigra. But if you are talking about the Abies nigra, so what is mentioned in Abies nigra? There is mentioned a sensation of boiled egg lodged at the cardiac end of stomach, and the patient is having the history of tea drinking. If you are getting the history of tea drinking and the patient is having indigestion or dyspepsia, especially in the old people, then we can think of Abies nigra. Okay, but let me tell you one case of Abies nigra. There was one patient and he was having abdominal colic, especially in the epigastrium. Epigastrium region में उसको दर्द होता था and the patient was feeling better after heart pressure. So I prescribed colocin and the patient was much better. But again recurring of the same symptom, फिर दोबारा वो हो जा रहा था, उसको दर्द बार बार, and he was indicating कि डॉक्टर साहब यहीं पे हो रहा है, वो बार बार वही बता रहा है, ऐसा लग रहा है कुछ अटका हुआ है. देन आई प्रिस्क्राइब्ड एबिस नाइग्रा 202 डोज. उसके बाद वो एकदम क्योर हो गया एंड देयर इज नो कंप्लेन. ओके, देयर इज नो फर्दर कंप्लेन एंड द पेशेंट हैज got cured. Okay, another symptoms alternate dilatation and contraction of the pupil. You can see in the picture. In the first picture there is a constriction of the pupil and the second picture there is a dilatation of pupil. But if you are talking about the constriction of constricted pupil, so can anyone tell me the name of more medicine where we will find constricted pupil? We will find in case of hemorrhage or barbiturate poisoning or barbiturate. Okay, we will also find in case of belladonna. Okay, but if you are talking about the constricted people, so what we will say, constricted people को medical term में क्या कहेंगे? Can anyone tell? That is known as meiosis. But if there is a dilatation of pupil, that is known as mydriasis. Okay. Another symptom, cardiac symptom after suppression or after separate phosphate, means already we have read there is a cardiac symptom. This is associated with the dyspepsia. But why there is a cardiac symptom? Because there is a suppression of food sweat. There is a suppression of food sweat, and after that the patient have developed a palpitation or irritability. So we can think of Barata curve. And this Barata curve is also having fatty tumors about the neck. You can see in the picture. If there is a tumor around the neck, so we can say this condition is angiolipoma. Or if there is any tumor around the neck, we can say a lipoma. Okay. And if we are finding paralysis of tongue, what we have already discussed, like I was talking about the dysphagia. So I have discussed causes of dysphagia. There was a paralysis of throat muscle. So there may be a paralysis of tongue. Why? Because there might be an injury to the glossopharyngeal nerve, which is supplying to the tongue. And if that nerve is getting injury or affected by anything, so there will be a paralysis of tongue. Another symptoms, lung fail, smoke. Means a patient is always feeling that something is failing in the lungs. But these symptoms we can correlate with the practice of medicine with respiratory system. So can anyone tell me the causes where, or can anyone tell me the name of disease condition where we will find lungs fail smoke like? Can anyone tell? So we can correlate with the like chronic bronchitis, asthma. These are the conditions where we will find smoke like. Okay. Another medicine we will read, that is belladonna. But if you are talking about the belladonna, this belladonna is also known as beautiful lady. But if you are talking about the beautiful lady, so can anyone tell me the name of medicine which are having the name lady's love? Can anyone tell me the name of medicine? Very good. Abrotinum. Okay. So belladonna is also known as common dwell, and this is also known as deadly nightshade, and this medicine is proved by Dr. Christian Frederick Samuel Hahnemann. But this medicine is belonging to the class 1. So how you will remember कि क्लास 1 में, बिकॉज बेल होता है ना, बेल हमेशा बेल अकेला होता है, सिंगल ही होता है. तो जब भी बेलाडोना की बात होगी, सो रिमेम्बर करना, याद करना आप लोग कि बेल एक ही होता है. तो दिस medicine is belonging to the class 1. So let's talk about the symptoms of belladonna. Adopted to the bilious, lymphatic, plethoric constitution, person who are lively and entertaining when well, but violent and often delirious when the patient is become sick. This means bilious or lymphatic involvement, and there will be a plethoric constitution, means congestion will be there. There will be a congestion over the whole body, over the face, and the patient is always entertaining, especially when the patient is good. He will be enjoying, he will be playing. But once the patient is getting sick, जैसे ही बीमार पड़ता है वो बहुत अजीब अजीब हरकतें करने लगता है. That is the character of belladonna. Another symptoms, women and children with light hair and blue eyes, fine complexion and delicate skin. You can see in the picture a patient, they are having blue eyes and they are having the delicate skin, and there will be a fair complexion. And if you are getting this type of symptom, or if you are getting this type of constitution, then we can think of this medicine. But if there is a fair, fatty and flabby, then we can think of calcarea carp. Another symptoms, sensitive, nervous or threatened with convulsion and tuberculous patient. Means especially a patient is very sensitive, and if they are having the tuberculosis, and if the patient is having tuberculosis and with that the patient is having threatened convulsion, there will be an epileptic attack, there will be a seizure. And if you are getting this type of symptom, then we can think of belladonna, because belladonna is also tubercular medicine. Another symptoms, great liability to take cold, sensitive to drafts of air. You can see in the picture, a patient is having desire for the taking cold, but very sensitive to drafts of cold air or cold things. If he will be eating or drinking cold things, so he might be suffering from any problem like tonsillitis, or it can be anything. But these symptoms we can correlate with another medicine, that is calibicromicum. So what is mentioned in calibicromicum, can anyone tell? There is mentioned liability to take cold. This is mentioned in calibicromicum. But what is mentioned in calicarb? There is mentioned very much inclined to take cold. But if you are talking about the cold drinks, so we can correlate with the another medicine. Can anyone tell me the name of medicine where there is having desire for cold drinks? Can anyone tell? Yes, very good. Phosphorus, very good, Amit, very good. And yes, phosphorus and Pasatila is also there. And arsenic is also having desire for the cold things. But can anyone tell me the name of medicine where the patient is having menstrual pain which is relieved by drinking of the cold drinks? Relieved by cold drinks. Can anyone tell me the name of medicine? किस medicine में है? Menstrual pain which is relieved by cold drinks. Can anyone tell me the name of medicine? That is Priojot. Okay. सेशन एंड होने वाला है आफ्टर 4 मिनट्स, क्विकली आप लोग ज्वाइन कर लेना ताकि तुरंत स्टार्ट कर दो. ओके. Another symptoms, tonsil become inflamed after riding in a cold wind. Why there will be a tonsil inflamed? Because a belladonna patient is very sensitive, and if the patient will be drinking anything cold, or if there is a cold air, so there will be a inflammation of tonsil, that is known as tonsillitis. And takes cold exposure from takes cold from exposure of feet. There is also medicine like calcarea is there and silicea is also there. Another symptoms, especially when uncovering the heat, means if the patient is uncovering the heat, so there will be a problem. And if the patient is having the haircut, बाल कटवा के आया उसके बाद उसको हेडेक हो गया, फीवर हो गया, so which medicine we will think? We can think the belladonna. But can anyone tell me the name of more medicine where there is mention aggravation from having the haircut? और कौन से medicine है? Yes, glonine. Very good. But if there is aggravation from after shaving में aggravation है तो कौन से medicine है? Yes, very good. Carbo animalis. Okay. So I was talking about the aggravation after shaving, that is carbo animalis. Okay. Another symptoms, imagines he sees ghost, hideous faces and various insects. You can see in the picture. And having the black animals or dogs or wolves. wolves. So, can anyone tell me the more medicine which are having cheer from the ghost and black dogs or black animal? Can anyone tell me the name of medicine? और किस मेडिसिन में होता है? स्टामोनियम, very good. And yes, opium, stamonium, and one more is there. Not hyoscyamus, that is tuberculinum. Okay. Another symptoms, fear of imaginary things, want to run away from them, hallucinations. You can see in the picture, a patient is having hallucination. Means hallucination का मतलब क्या होगा कि जैसे बैठे हो तुमको ऐसा लगता है कि someone is calling, but in real there is no one is there to call you, but there is a fear of imaginary things. कुछ ऐसा इमेजिनेशन करने लगता है जिसकी वजह से उसको डर बहुत होता है, and want to run away. And convulsion during the teething with fever, means if the child is there and there is a eruption of teeth, with that the patient is having convulsion and associated with the fever. But if there is a convulsion during teething without fever, if there is no fever, then the medicine is, can anyone tell me the name of medicine? Not Mac Carb, Mac Phos. Okay. And come on suddenly and head hot and feet cold. Why there will be a head hot? Because rush of blood to the head. There is a congestion over the head, over the face. That's why there will be a head hot. Another symptom, boring the head into the pillow. Means if the patient is having problem, he will try to put head into the pillow and he will be moving from sidewise to the pillow. So can anyone tell me the more medicine? What are the medicine in the bracket? Yes, very good Apis, and yes, very good Amit. Helleborus and Podophyllum peltatum is also there. Another symptoms, abdomen tender and distended and ameliorated by least jar and even of the beat and obliged to walk with great care for fear of a jar. You can see in the picture, especially a cecum region. If the patient might be having, we can correlate with the appendicitis. Appendicitis is inflammation of the appendix, and that area, especially, we can correlate with the McBurney point.